This podcast does not contain spoilers.
So the writer's like, here you go. I'm in between the...
I'm in betwixt.
I'm
Not hopscotch over to go on Ruby Doo. What's going on?
They're like,
What
you want an accent? We'll give you an accent.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to Microsodes. Hello and welcome to Microsodes, where we review movies from two different perspectives.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Ashley, the movie novice, which means that I haven't seen a lot of movies.
And I'm Bobby, the resident cinephile. I've seen a lot of movies. It doesn't mean that I'm an expert, but I do have some expertise in a couple different films. Welcome.
Back.
Well, welcome to another episode of Microsodes.
Welcome.
Today we're going to be discussing Longlegs, not to be confused with the spider.
Daddy Longlegs.
Exactly. Although this movie has some twists and turns in it.
It does.
Are you ready for those movie details?
I couldn't be more ready for
Perfect.
those movie details.
Perfect. All right. So once again, the movie that we're reviewing today is called Longlegs. It was released on July 12th of 2024. It has a bunch of different portions of the genre. I'm going to read as many as I thought was necessary to the movie. So the genre was horror, thriller, crime, serial killer, and supernatural horror. There was 3 other ones. I just felt like that probably embodied most of it. It has a runtime of 1 hour and 41 minutes. It is rated R. And you can watch it. The platforms that you can watch it on are Hulu and Disney Plus for free. But then you have to pay for YouTube, Google Play Store, Apple TV, Fandango at Home, and Amazon Prime. And it ranges from what I saw was $3.99 to $5.99. The distributor was Neon. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. I hadn't before.
I have.
Oh, okay. But
I've seen what the sign or what the logo looks like before some movie. I can't remember what other movies.
Well, it's called, the actual title of the business is Neon Rated LLC. It's an American independent film company that made the movies I, Tonya, Anatomy of a Fall, and Parasite, which I think Parasite won a couple of Academy Awards. So they kind of just do like indie films, I guess.
Interesting. And I think we saw Anatomy of a Fall before.
I think we saw the preview for it. I don't think we've ever seen it.
Oh, okay. I did see I, Tonya.
Okay. I haven't seen I, Tonya. I think you probably watched it on a plane. But it seems like they picked some really interesting movies to distribute. So good for them. And the director is Osgood Perkins. He got his start playing Norman Bates, the younger version of him, in Psycho 2.
Wow.
He was also in Legally Blonde, Star Trek, and Nope.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he was an actor in all of those?
He was an actor in all of those, and this is like one of the 3 movies that he directed. The other ones I haven't heard of before, so I didn't want to say something that maybe nobody's seen, but I just wanted to give a little background on the director.
That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
I like it.
Awesome. All right, you ready to watch that preview?
I think so.
Well, you better hold on to your fingers and toes.
I'll hold on to these long legs of mine. No. Sorry.
Well,
Sorry.
No, I loved it.
What a trailer that was.
What'd you think, Ashley?
What I thought, Bobby, was that it reminded me of the Zodiac Killer.
Okay.
I feel like the trailer showed a lot of characters of some sort.
Yeah, a lot of...
What do you call them?
I guess preeminent serial killers have used
Cryptology or something?
Yeah, like cryptology, which is just basically codes.
Yeah. Codes. That's what it that's what it looked like. So it looked
Yeah.
like this girl was looking at a wall. There was a ton of codes, and she was sitting on a bed, and someone said, "Oh, what's it like to be a female FBI agent?" So I'm assuming that she's an FBI agent, and she is looking for a serial killer.
Okay.
And that's what I got from it.
Well, you're going to be very surprised with the synopsis.
Oh, no.
A magician...
What?
I'm kidding.
A magician? Oh, no.
In pursuit of a serial killer, an FBI agent uncovers a series of occult clues that she must solve to end his terrifying killing spree.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right.
All
So
right.
you ready to watch this?
I'm totally ready to watch this magician. Serial killer movie.
Well, I'll grab the spider spray and then we'll sit down and watch this bad boy. Whoa.
What a show.
Yeah.
I think I say that every time.
I mean, you're not wrong. That was quite the roller coaster of
I would agree.
just a ton of different emotions and story. It went a little bit all over the place.
Yeah, I would say so. I'll start off with story.
Okay.
I rated it 3.1.
Okay.
I think it was a very unique story. However, I think it was very confusing. There were a lot of underlying circumstances or plot twists or details.
Yeah. When you hear mine, we're going to be kind of on the same page. I think what you're looking for and kind of what I observed was there's a lot of unfinished storylines that were in there. They started a lot of things that were very interesting.
Yeah.
But then just couldn't get there for some reason.
Yeah. And I wrote down it was somewhat hard to follow, especially at the beginning.
Oh, at the beginning? Okay.
Yeah, because before we really got into the story and what they were looking at, it was like, wait, what's going on?
Right.
So that was a little difficult to understand. And I feel like there wasn't a real timeline, or if it was a little haphazard for me.
Okay.
I mean, I
can see
guess you
that.
could see a timeline because they went back in time, but I guess I just think it was very confusing.
She doesn't mean that they actually went back in time. They just do flashbacks during the movie. This is not a time travel movie for anybody that's out there. They're not going back in time.
I don't know that song.
No, it's okay. So I'm on the same page. I was going to rate it higher, but then when I started thinking about everything, I was like, eh. So I was at a 2.8, but then the more that I thought about it, I put it down to a 2.3, and here's the reason why. Is I thought they had a very original and interesting concept about, what this movie could be, but they just had so many different genres that were involved, kind of what I was reading about earlier.
Yes.
I was kind of left thinking, like, is this all in someone's head? Is it supernatural? Is it stuff from the occult? Is it all, in all these different storylines that are consistently being brought up? I just couldn't get a good hold on where they were trying to get to. Like, obviously, watching the preview, you know that there's an FBI agent that's trying to stop a killer. But along the way, there's like 16 different plot holes that they get themselves into. And I don't think they really explain or finish them all.
I agree. While you were talking, it reminded me of when you said the lack of finishing kind of different storylines.
Right.
When they found I'm not going to say it, the thing underneath the barn floor.
Right.
I feel like they kind of went into that story. Like if a story was from letters A to Z, they got from A to G and then kind of got to S and then stopped. I feel like we didn't get the last S to Z part of the story.
Or how it really all tied in.
Right.
100%. I agree with you. When you brought up that portion, I was also thinking about the testing. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And I was like, well, this is very interesting, but like what is
like
happening?
Is this science or like what even went on with that? They just stopped testing, or we just never, it's not like they stopped it, they just never went back to it.
Right. I'm on the same exact page that you are. I thought that's a reason why I started off so high and then kind of downgraded it, because they have so many great concepts that are in it, but overall it was like, well, you didn't take it anywhere. So I feel like it's almost a letdown for the audience, because I want it to be a situation where not that everything has to be resolved, but it's like, well, you brought this up for a specific reason for the audience to know. You should complete at least the thought of it.
I agree. It kind of reminded me of a few things in Electric State. Except
Yeah.
Electric State, I feel like they actually followed through with all the story. Even though there were several thousand storylines, they still followed through most of them.
They got to we'll say like 60%, whereas this had like 100% better ideas than maybe Electric State.
Yeah.
But only followed through on like 15% of them.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
And
And they were all over the place. It was like,
Yeah.
you need to find your niche,
Right.
and just go in on that. It's like when you're writing a thesis in school and they're like, no, that's too broad.
Right.
You need to really like narrow down your topic.
I completely agree. Yeah, it's like they came up with the best opening statement and thesis, and then they just like, and now we don't know what to do. It's like, oh, approved. Yeah. Now you just got to make it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's what I had for the story. For acting, I gave it a 4.4.
Okay.
I said I thought there were some really good performances, especially like, this is going to be a really weird reference, but the people in it almost act like the people, real life people on something like The First 48 or like Cops or something like that, where they go and they are involved in these homicide investigations, and it's like, oh, okay, well, that's over. I guess we're on to whatever else is next. And you just had this like, you had this weird vibe with everybody that was involved in the storyline, that they were just
doing a job.
Yeah, they were
like,
just doing a job.
Like, they didn't really care about the people involved.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just more like, oh, this is just a job and this is what's going to happen.
Right.
And I thought that really encapsulates probably what it is to be like somebody who has to try to process all these stuff and solve all these unsolvable cases. And it's just like a grind, and it must just grind you all the way down.
Yeah.
So I really like that. I said Maika, Monroe, and Nicolas Cage. I think her name is
Yeah, I wrote down, what was her name? Well, I wrote Maika, Maika.
Okay. So yeah, Maika, Monroe, and Nicolas Cage I thought were incredible in their roles. And then everybody else did a really good job of just playing their parts. Like, nobody was really stealing scenes from anybody else. It just kind of flowed really well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it never made me, their acting never made me feel comfortable. I was kind of always waiting, like, for something to happen. So it was just, you had that sense of dread, and you're waiting for the dread to end.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what I thought about the acting.
Nice. I rated acting a 3.5.
Okay.
Now, it wasn't that their acting was poor in any way. It was more like, and this could tie more into writing, but I feel like they didn't have enough for me to even judge them on. It was very little dialogue for the movie in a whole.
Okay.
It was a little difficult for me to give them. I just felt like I didn't have much to work with.
Okay.
Although the lines were limited, I think the body language and facial expressions were appropriate. I think they did a good job with that, all the characters.
Yeah.
I still didn't understand why she was breathing so hard.
Yeah, when you see the movie, it's very distracting. And I don't know if it was because,
I don't know if it was intentional.
yeah, like maybe the character's supposed to have some kind of like, oh, she has a lot of panic attacks, so that's the easiest way. And I'm just making that up. That isn't something that they said in the movie, but it would have been much easier to explain if they said something like that. But yeah, she was breathing very heavily for a lot of the movie.
Yes. And then I realized that Nicolas Cage's character, or I guess Longlegs, was also breathing heavy in different scenes. And I'm halfway through, I was like, do they know each other? Is there some kind of connection? But no one ever explained it.
No, a lot of people breathing heavily.
Yeah, so I guess just breathing hard was what, the director's choice? Or was it the actor's choice? Was it in the screenplay?
Good questions. I wish I had the screenplay to tell you.
I know, look at all these questions I have.
Actress breathes heavy.
Breathing heavily. Yeah. Okay, you ready for writing a dialogue?
Let's do it.
I gave writing a dialogue a 2.8.
Okay.
And your face.
I know it's because we're very close on this one, and then I was reading what I was saying, and I was like, oh, I bet we're going to be...
We're going to say the same things?
Yeah.
Okay, so to all those listeners out there, we don't discuss our reviews with each other before the podcast because we want to have, like, real reactions to each other.
Exactly.
So that's why this is very
That was a
exciting
real
for us.
reaction.
Exactly. Okay. So for writing a dialogue, I said that there was very minimal dialogue.
Okay.
They met a girl that said very odd things. For example, I brought a couple lines.
Okay.
And this is why, okay, there was minimal dialogue, but the dialogue that they did say, most of it between the agents, like the FBI agents, was pretty normal.
Right.
But a lot of the supporting characters, they had very odd diction. Would you call it diction?
Sure. I mean,
A way of saying things?
yeah, I think that for where they were at, this person that you're referencing, even though everybody kind of seems like they have a Pennsylvanian accent or something like that, this person spoke like they were from the bayou of Louisiana. And you're like, why? Where did this person come from?
Yes. Okay, a couple quotes that I wrote down. One thing she says is, Mama always hated me 'cause how I'd come out wrongly when I was born. What?
Yeah.
And then she said, like if and he told me to take a jumpy out a window, I'd surely do. Like, what are you where is this coming from? No one explained this. Or, that's the something I remember good. That's the something I remember good? I mean, no one said this girl was dumb.
No.
Why is she speaking so improperly?
It's a great question. Like you said, you'd have to ask the person who wrote it.
I mean, they wrote it because I looked online and those were the actual lines. It wasn't even the actor. That's why I wrote it in dialogue. It wasn't the actor that or the actress that was saying these lines.
So I don't know what they were trying to...
Right. Plus, they had extremely strong Southern accents, like you mentioned earlier, which feels like it came out of nowhere. Which leads me into this quote. This is my last one.
I knew I was a handful as it wers. I knew I was a handful as it wers. As it wers.
Well, that's was and were put together.
Okay. Well, it would probably help if I've ever been to any of the southern states, which I haven't, other than Florida, which I don't think is really part of the South. And it was also in the middle of the state, so it's definitely not part of the South.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, even if you were to travel to the South, a lot of people have great diction and big vocabularies. They have a lot of different slang words than what we have. But I haven't just run into people that are just making up making sentences go together and mixing words together like that on a regular basis.
Yeah. I mean, I had no idea what time period this was from. Did you?
Right.
They didn't have cell phones.
No.
I knew that because no one grabbed a cell phone when it was very important to. And so I was like, well, they must not have them. But where are they coming from?
Yeah. They didn't do a great job of some character development for sure.
Yeah. What did you write for writing a dialogue?
I gave it a 2.5.
Oh, makes sense.
Pretty much for the same exact reason that you were saying. I wrote down there was way too many plot holes. The characters could have been developed way more, kind of going back to exactly what you were saying.
I didn't really care about any of them.
Yeah, and I would have given it a lower score, but I thought that the idea itself, somebody had to write it, and even though the dialogue was, in some parts, was kind of sketchy at best, we'll leave it at that. Even with that, it still was a really good, I think, concept. And so I'm like, well, somebody had to write this all out, think of this idea, and kind of put it all together. So I gave them a little bit more just for the originality of the story.
Yeah.
But if the story had been like garbage on top of that, I probably would have given the writing and the dialogue like a 1. Because there were so many things that were going on that you're like, and her mom, this isn't going to be, but her mom had a weird accent too.
Yes.
And it's just like, you're right. Where are these people coming from?
Exactly.
And he didn't say anything about it. Like her cop buddy's friend, that guy that she works with, him and
Yeah.
his family,
Right.
they had like normal accents.
Right.
So I'm not sure. And even the guy that she's with at the beginning, he had a normal accent too.
Yeah, they all spoke in one way, and then you met these side characters that are just like off the rails with
Yeah.
different accents.
Right. And I don't know what Nicolas Cage's accent was supposed to be.
Creepy.
Well,
I think he succeeded.
Aces, yeah.
Aces for that creepiness.
That's
right. The creep factor.
The creep factor. Okay.
For
On
direction?
to direction. Yeah.
I'll let you go.
Okay. So for direction, I gave it a 4.1. I said I would have really liked to read the script to understand what the actual ending they were going for was supposed to be.
Yes.
But the guy who directed it wasn't the person who wrote it. I just feel like I don't know what the writers and the producers were going for, but I had the whole time with the direction, I had this like ominous feeling. Nothing ever felt like settled.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like you could kind of like settle into the movie and just get yourself ready for what was going to come up next. You just had no idea what was going to come up next. And I think that lends itself to good direction with something like that.
That makes sense.
Because what else is, he's just got to direct what's out there and get the actors to read the dialogue like you were just talking about.
Right.
From
from whoever wrote it.
Yeah, the Creole people from South Carolina or something like that.
I could just see the director being like, "Oh, I want these people to have different accents," and the writers like, "They shouldn't have different accents."
Then don't write this.
No, but listen.
Okay.
So then the writers like, they don't have different accents. They shouldn't have different accents. Well, I would really like them to have different accents because I think that would be cool. And so the writer's like, F you, fine. Here you go. I'm in between the
I'm in
here's and there.
betwixt. I'm not hopscotch over to roll on Ruby-Doo. What's going on?
The gravy train and the biscuit wheels.
Yeah, I'm going on the gravy train with biscuit wheels, Potato Town.
Yeah. They're like,
What
oh,
the hell?
You want an accent? We'll give you an accent.
Oh yeah, we're gonna write some real nonsense just to mess with you.
Exactly.
But yeah, I feel like whatever it was that they wrote, he understood the concept of what they were aiming for and to make the audience feel uncomfortable watching it.
Yes.
So I liked that. I liked that I couldn't really even though I was being confused about what was happening, it's like I couldn't take my eyes away from the screen.
Yes.
So I think that's a really great reflection of somebody who's a good director.
I would agree. That makes a lot of sense. For direction, I gave it a 3.0.
Oh, okay.
And I know this is probably, I don't know what, I mean, but I guess it's with casting. So what I wrote was, I don't think the mom was cast as the right actor because we've seen the mom in other movies. She's been in a ton of Hallmark movies too. And so I looked up the ages. How old do you think she is, the mom? She was in that one
52?
movie. 52? That's close. Okay, and how old do you think the girl was, the daughter, the main girl?
35?
Okay. I mean, that was pretty accurate. So
Sorry,
the mom-
I didn't look anything up, I promise.
So the main girl is 31.
Okay.
And her mom in this is 49. 49? They're closer in age than some of these couples on 90 Day Fiancé.
Well, that's true.
That's crazy.
I mean, it just means that she had her when she was 18.
18. I mean, I guess that is fine. Was she supposed
Fine.
to have?
Once again, there's no writing or dialogue or character development,
Yeah,
so
we don't
I
know
have no
anything
idea.
about any of them. I think a lot of the scenes they would flash back on weird things happening that didn't actually happen, but it was like that unsettling, just what you were saying.
Right.
So I do believe that he did get a very good dreadful, unsettling feeling to the film.
Yeah.
So
That's the reason why I rated it so, I guess, a little bit higher than you.
yeah.
Because that just, I like that, and I think that has a lot to do with the direction and the understanding of what whoever is writing it is trying to convey to the audience.
Right.
Cool.
For visuals, I gave it a 3.3.
Okay.
Because what?
Oh no, it's just we're gonna be way off on this one.
Oh no. So visuals, I gave it a 3.3. I think at first I didn't like the odd zoom-ins of the, like, for example, the beginning of the movie, there's a car and it's like you're looking at it from a window and it zooms in so close at the car, like, and this could be, maybe this is post-production, but technically it's a visual aspect, so
Sure.
I didn't know where to file it. But anyway, I'll talk about it now.
Yeah.
It zooms in on the car so closely where it's like, audience, we want you to watch this car, where other films will be like, it'll either slowly, very, very slowly zoom in on something, so you kind of know where, like, zoom in on the subject of what the audience is supposed to be looking at, or
Right.
it'll just be like a clear shot, like a still shot of whatever the subject is. And we as an audience are supposed to understand that we're looking at the whole scene, but the thing right in the center is probably what we need to be looking at.
Okay.
Where this was more of like, I'm going to tell you what you're supposed to look at.
Oh, okay.
So
I can see that.
It was weird, but I thought it was interesting. I think, although, I guess you wrote for direction and I wrote this for visuals, but I think because it was shot on different cameras, and I looked it up, and it was shot on a 35 millimeter film camera, or I don't know, video. I don't
guessing
know, 35 millimeter something.
I'm guessing because it's a movie, they probably shot it on film.
Yeah, and then they also use digital camera formats. So, and the videographer, I guess, is Andre Aroki.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I rated it 3. I think it was 3.3. Because I think he just got a really unique perspective in the visuals. And I'm not saying I really liked it, because I think, I mean, it was very interesting.
I wrote, even though the dialogue was lacking, it was still enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
Because the visuals were so interesting.
Yeah.
So I think and like he would have one subject in the center of the room and nothing around. I'm not saying I really like it, but I think it was really cool. Like a cool, unique way of doing the visuals.
Right.
So anyway.
No, I'm right there with you. I agree with a lot of what you said, except for I just rated it. I took what you said and I just added another point to it. So I rated it 4.3 because of exactly what you're talking about. I thought, like, the grittiness of it, like the way that it kind of made you feel not like dirty watching it, but like you just felt like the film was kind of like sticking to you a little bit. You can only get that through, to me, direction and really the visuals that are coming out. The short flashes of things, I was like, wow, are they trying to subliminally message you? Is there something that's there? And then, you know, it was all basically practical effects. There was no real special effects. It was all just editing. So I'm a big practical effects person, so I really like that. I like the way that they made Nicolas Cage look.
Oh yeah, but the prosthetics were great.
Yeah, so I attributed that to the visuals as well. And then one thing that I wrote down for myself was, because Neon is an independent film company, I don't know what kind of budgets they work with.
Oh, that's
true. So they
true.
have to make their dollars stretch a lot further. And in this one, I just felt like it was almost like a weird fever dream. And it just, because it just started and it just starts off strange and then it ends strange. And you're like, wow, like what did I just see? So I think the visuals really played into that.
I agree. Yeah, the visuals on this definitely made up for the lack of dialogue.
Yeah, for sure. All right, here we go.
So what did you give it for your overall score, your overall rating?
So for my overall score, I gave this movie, Longlegs, a 3.52.
Nice.
Yeah, so my overall takeaway was all the concepts that they had were very original. The direction I thought was really good. The acting was good. And the visuals were great. But just the dialogue and the story and the writing just kind of took away from such a great concept. You know, if it would have been way higher for me if they would have closed off some of those loops, if they would have done a little bit more character development, if they would have stayed true to where they were at and people weren't coming up from the bayou for no reason.
Right.
It would have been a lot higher. Like I said, it had an opportunity to be one of those movies that really catapults itself to like, oh wow, that's a real, maybe a cult classic because people haven't seen it, but wow, it's so good because it's so unsettling. I would absolutely recommend that people watch it once. I think if you watch it a second time, you might pick up on some of the different nuances and kind of the things that they wove in there that I wasn't or couldn't even predict in the watching it the first time. Maybe I'll watch it one more time and maybe it'll change the way that I feel about it. But I mean, I would say people need to watch it once, but you just make sure that you're in the mindset to watch something that's a little bit unsettling, because it really does make you just kind of like, I don't know, it makes you feel a little weird.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe have something to loosen you up a bit before you watch this. Otherwise, if you have anxiety, you might be too much for you.
Yeah, make sure you watch something fun afterwards.
Yeah, watch something fun afterwards. That's for sure.
All right, what about you?
Overall, I gave it a 3.14.
Okay.
I think the story needed a little bit more character development. And I think it needed to be a little bit more focused. It felt too broad. They tried to incorporate, like you said, so many different types of genres or so many different elements that they didn't follow through on all of them. So I think if they just tightened up the topic and followed through, it would have gotten a higher score for me.
Yeah, and I can totally understand that. Would you recommend that people watch it once?
I recommend that you watch it once, but if you do have any kind of stress or anxiety, you might want to consider a different movie because it will be very unsettling.
Yeah, I think that people should see it one time, but definitely make sure that you watch something fun afterwards, because it
100%.
It is a little bit heavy and makes you feel a little bit weird after you've seen it.
Yeah, it's not like a horror movie like Saw where you feel like, I don't know, scared,
like
grossed out.
Yeah,
you definitely feel like dirty,
like uneasy.
Yeah,
and dirty.
It's weird. It's a very odd movie.
Yeah.
Sure, if you feel like watching it once, go ahead. I don't know if I recommend that everyone see it, but if you're into an unsettling movie, I think you should see it.
There you go.
And if you're not into an unsettling type of genre, then definitely don't see it.
Don't watch this one. This one is not for you.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Longlegs is in
Wrapped.
the can, as they say, right? Isn't that what they say? Where they
in the can?
Yeah. Doesn't that mean that they put like the film in the can and it's ready to go to the movie theater?
Oh my gosh! When you said in the can, I thought you meant like
in the bathroom.
No.
Oh, okay. Thank God.
I thought you meant you took the screenplay and you're like, "We're done." You threw it in the trash can. Like, and that's a wrap.
No, I think they say that when they get done with the film.
That's very cool.
But maybe people won't understand that, and it'll make it sound like I'm going to go to the bathroom. So,
well, wait, I got to look this up. What did you say?
In the can?
In the can? Okay.
Yeah, just say in the can movie reference, because if you say in the can, I think people are going to think I'm talking about the bathroom.
I guess that makes sense. Okay. Oh, in the can means that filming of a movie is complete and it's ready for post-production and release. It signifies that the main part of making the movie, the shooting, is finished.
So, did a pretty good job there.
That's exactly what this is, because we're done filming or recording, but we're not done editing.
Right, but we got it. So we got Longlegs in the can.
In the can. Just stuff those legs down. Also, they referenced Longlegs at the beginning and then never referenced what it was. But anyway, in the can, another movie.
In the can.
We will talk to you next time.
Thank you guys once again for listening and for downloading our podcast. It really does mean a lot to us. We spend a lot of time doing this, but it's so much fun, and we hope that you really enjoy it too. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. And today is Easter, so if you celebrate, happy Easter to you. Mm-hmm. If you don't celebrate, hopefully you got the day off. It's one of the 5 holidays that my business is closed, so everybody got to go spend time with their family. So I hope you guys were able to spend time with your family or friends, or get to maybe eat some chocolate or open some eggs or do something
fun.
Spend
time with those peeps.
Got to spend time with those peeps, those orange, yellow, marshmallow peeps.
I always think of the pink ones.
Oh, the pink
ones or the pink bunnies. The bunny peeps. Yeah. Always got them when I was younger. And so I thought they were the coolest things. Anyway, so I thought it was the coolest thing, but I never liked them. But I forced myself to eat them because I thought that she liked them. So I was like, oh, those must be the cool thing to have.
Oh.
So I used to ask my mom for peeps. She's like, you don't like them. And I was like, but I'll eat them. They're great. They're wonderful.
Just
okay.
Because, oh, it's like me with the zingers and the snowballs.
But I thought you liked zingers and snowballs.
I didn't like snowballs, but sometimes that's all they had. Did you ever have one of those?
No. I think a snowball is
top.
It's like a peep with something
like
underneath.
A marshmallow top with like a cake underneath.
There's cake underneath? Yeah. So it's like a peep on top of a cake?
Pretty much.
A peep on a ho-ho.
Better watch that cake.
Yeah, watch those peeps on cake. Like the people at the top of wedding cake. They really are peeps on a cake.
Beep, beep. There it is.
Hip, hip, cheerio.
Well, we got a little off the rails there, but thank you guys once again for listening to our podcast. Like I said, we're very appreciative for everyone who takes the time to listen to us, and we will see you next time.